you guys doing today, tonight, whenever you are watching? Welcome to another week of the KBCR TV show with Michelle Green. Yes, today we are talking about credit and financial tips, and we're coming to you from a different location. Today we are in North Carolina. Hello. Welcome on in. Come on in the room. Make sure that you are subscribed. Go ahead and tell a friend so that they can like and share, and they can also connect with us by subscribing. Make sure that you announce this to every place that you know where somebody needs help with credit and finances, because that's what we are talking about in today's show. So today we are discussing our monitoring, our fraud alerts, and our security freezes as it pertains to credit. But just like we do every single week, we want to make sure that everyone understands what is credit. Credit is the ability for you to be able to buy something because you don't have enough money right now to make the purchase. So you go to a bank or a credit union and establish an account with them so that you can gain credit. You can gain the ability to be able to borrow or finance something that you need or something that you want at a later time. So we always want to begin with that because sometimes we don't really think about the dynamics of people who have never had any credit, people who have actually, maybe they have a little bit of credit, but they really don't understand how credit works. So in a nutshell, every single week before we get started on our topic, we'd like to discuss exactly what credit is. So credit is the ability to be able to borrow or finance something that you don't have enough money for right now to pay for. So that is exactly what credit is. And so today, today we are going to be discussing monitoring your credit. We're going to be discussing the fraud alerts with your credit, and we're going to be discussing the security freezes. So thank you for watching, and make sure that you have tapped in on that comment section to let us know what your comments are from today's message. All right, let's get started. So today we are discussing the monitoring. So what is monitoring? Why do we need to monitor our credit? When we think about monitoring our credit, one of the first things that comes to mind is someone has stolen my identity. And many times we encounter that as clients, as people in general, no matter what age, no matter what background you come from, no matter what your social security number is, you are not protected from the ability for an identity thief to steal your credit. You have no protection if you are not monitoring your credit, if you're not doing something that we are talking about today so that you can have that kind of coverage. But when we think about why we need to monitor, we want to first establish that there is not a whole lot of protection that is available if you are not doing anything to protect yourself against identity theft. There are thieves that can get into, if you pull up your name right now online, just pull up your name right now online and it will show you exactly what comes up that is available to the public eye. And many of us don't even realize that this data, this information is available. It will tell us about our family members. It will tell us about where we live. It will tell us about where we work at. It will tell us so many different variations of things that is just data that has been collected about you that you don't realize is already on the internet. It's already live. So thieves are readily available to steal your information. And they do it so easily and simply. Did you know that we can actually monitor your credit by just pulling up a soft pull? When people say that they're doing a soft pull on your credit, that they can still gather majority of the information about what your credit entails. Did you know that just by pulling a soft pull that people can actually see like who you are banking with, who you might have insurance with, who you might be associating yourself with a loan or a credit card? There are so many different variations of data that is available to the public eye. And I want you to understand that before you decide to click on that email or click on that text message from someone sending you something that may not be legitimate, make sure that you contact the company directly. Make sure that you can get a phone call through to the company or the organization that is sending you this information. Verify all information with the original source before you decide to get all panicky and upset behind something that you receive through email or text. Because I will say this, over the years of doing credit, we have had so many billions of clients that have come through and told us about someone threatening them that's outside of their job, someone that is threatening them to take all the money from their bank account. We've even had scenarios where people were outside of their home and they were saying that the person that they love, their significant other, was being held hostage because of identity theft, and that if they didn't send over $2,000 to $5,000 immediately, that they were going to kill the person. So I want you guys to understand that identity theft is real. There are all different types of scenarios. I can go on and on and on, because out of the years that we've been doing credit, 35 plus years, we have seen so many crazy things that have happened, and it's just pretty ridiculous how it pans out that it's only identity theft. So just imagine, that whatever you receive, don't take it for face value. Just think of it as, okay, well, this is something that I need to kind of pay attention to, but let me go check my resources to make sure that this is something that is legitimate. Okay. Make sure that you check the source. Make sure that if you have services with someone and it looks like their logo or it looks like the company's data, their slogan, their language, their lingo, still call the company directly. Do not hesitate. Call your loved one if you're being threatened by, someone shooting your loved one. Call the person regardless of whatever the scenario is, especially when it pertains to being able to go to court, having to go to court over debt. I will tell y'all a really big secret, and that is, the secret is that when you go to court over debt, it has to be set up in a certain way that it is not listed as a basic credit card or a basic loan. It has to be set up originally as an account that they are able to say that they can basically take you to court for. So if it's not in the beginning terms and conditions, you're not going to just automatically go to court for your regular type of debt. So just throw that out there, throw that away. If you've gotten some paperwork saying that you are being sued, you would know the difference between being sued by an officer actually serving you papers at your workplace or at your home. So if you're receiving something in the mail, on the email, on your text message saying that you are being sued or someone is doing something to you, just make sure that you understand that that is not legitimate information. That is not the procedure of the courthouse, okay? For them to take you to court or for them to say that they're going to do something where they're contacting you directly. Usually it's where they are not going to let you know that they are following you, they are monitoring you, they are checking you out, and then bam, all of a sudden you get served papers from a legitimate source, from an officer or from someone that is working with the courts. Okay, so let's just cancel all of the panickiness, the anxiety, the stress around, oh my God, people are stealing my identity and I don't understand how they're getting the information. In today's society, yes, there are companies that are taking protective measures, but I do want you to understand that it is still a possibility, regardless of the measures that the company says that they are taking around your credit, especially when it pertains to like banking and different things of that nature. So just be careful and mindful about the fact that identity thieves are real and it can happen to anybody. It's happened to me. It's happened to my husband over the years. It's happened to family members and friendships, friends that I know, close to me. So I'm just saying to you that it could happen to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are in the world. Identity theft is real. But I don't want to freak you out about it. I want you to be educated and understand exactly what it means for you to protect yourself when it comes to your credit and your finances. So, number one, let's talk about monitoring your credit. When we think about monitoring your credit, what we really want to understand is that monitoring is about monitoring the credit report. So, what are the accounts that are on your credit? And what are you able to see that's actually legitimately yours? What is the account on your credit yours versus what is not yours? Now, not just the credit accounts when you're monitoring credit, you also want to look at the name of the individual, the addresses of the individual, and the phone numbers of the individual. And this is really important in addition to, of course, our very well awareness of our social security numbers and our dates of birth. We definitely got to have those checked out to make sure that they match what we actually have as a social security number and a date of birth. But when it comes to the name of the individual, the address of the individual, the phone number of the individual, and even the workplace of the individual, the way that identity thieves usually begin to start the process of stealing your information, your identity, is simply with the basic information. So, your basic information, you need to monitor the credit because you need to monitor the profile information of the credit report. Then you need to monitor your accounts. So when it comes to monitoring, the first thing we got to understand is that we need to monitor. The second thing we got to understand is, what are we monitoring? We're monitoring our profile information. Is your name spelled correctly? How many multiple addresses do you have? Do you find any addresses on your credit reports that are actually not yours? Do you have any phone numbers you don't recognize? Maybe a workplace, or maybe it was an old phone number. That's natural, but outside of the realms of what should be on your credit report, you should never have a phone number or a address or a name that is just absolutely completely opposite from your particular information. So from your name, from your address, your phone number, and even your workplace can be altered for an identity thief to take your information. So let's monitor that information. And when we think about monitoring, we want to understand that monitoring our credit means that we are going to go through one of the systems that are available for us to actually see the credit report. It's not just about monitoring your credit scores as much as it is about monitoring the actual profile and the accounts that are on your credit report. So when it comes to us looking at monitoring systems, the first thing that most people do is go to Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Okay. Well, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they are the three major credit bureaus. However, they don't actually stop anything from taking place in real time. So when we think about monitoring, we first want to know that we are monitoring what's on the credit reports. The second thing we want to monitor or understand about the credit is that we have to make sure we're going through a system that is going to give us real time and not past time. And when I say past time, when you monitor your credit through Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, they are only offering monitoring after something has taken place. So in other words, if an identity thief steals your identity, you won't know about it until after it has actually taken place. So if you're monitoring through the credit bureaus only, you will not be able to catch the identity thief before they damage your credit. So what would we suggest in that matter, we would suggest that you would go through myfico.com. Myfico.com is a good monitoring service. So when you think about monitoring your credit, you want to go through myfico.com because they offer a real-time situation with being able to view your credit reports real time. The second monitoring service that I would recommend is called LifeLock. Make sure that you go to LifeLock and download one of the services that offers even just the basic monitoring so that whenever someone tries to steal your identity, it automatically sends you an alert and you can say, I did not authorize this. So therefore, you will be able to stop the identity thief from actually doing anything with your credit. So that's how we would protect ourselves when it comes to monitoring. Now, the second thing that we can do to protect ourselves from identity thieves is to make sure that we are establishing fraud alerts on our credit. Now, there is a big difference between a fraud alert and a security freeze. And I just want to make sure that we understand the difference. But when it comes to monitoring, we want to make sure we're not just using a monitoring service through the credit bureaus. We are establishing the monitoring service through what? MyFICO, real-time transactions, as well as LifeLock. Again, LifeLock will allow you to be alerted to actually give you the option to say, I either approved of this or I did not approve of this. Either I applied for this credit or I did not apply for this credit. So we got to make sure that we have the right monitoring services in place, because if we don't, we will not be able to properly protect ourselves. The second thing that we are going to discuss is fraud alert. So when we think about a fraud alert, it is an alert to all of the timelines of what is actually fraudulent activity. So what happens is the credit bureaus can send data to either MyFICO or to a system that tracks the people who have already been fraudulently stealing other people's identity. But if you don't have a fraud alert on your credit report, then guess what? You are just out there open for the thieves to steal your identity. So how do you establish a fraud alert? Well, thankfully, a fraud alert can be established with the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Once you place a fraud alert on, you have two options to actually do a fraud alert for 12 months out of the year. So that's actually 1 year of a fraud alert that can remain on your credit reports. So that means the credit bureaus, when you go to, let's say, Equifax, and you say, hey, Equifax, I want to add a fraud alert to my credit report. Well, Equifax is then going to notify, thankfully, the other credit bureaus that you have a fraud alert on your credit report. And sometimes, because they work kind of together, even though they're separate entities, they will notify them and the other companies, Experian and TransUnion, and sometimes even the Novice, will automatically add the fraud alert to the other bureaus. So that is a big plus for us, where we don't have to call every single individual credit bureau to say, hey, I want to add a fraud alert. We can simply just go into it as, I am establishing a fraud alert on my credit report for 1 year. And that once that 1 year is over, if you feel uncomfortable, like you're not gonna, you're gonna need to continue the actual fraud alert, then guess what? You can then extend the fraud alert for 7 years. You can initially actually start a fraud alert for 7 years if that's how you feel like your identity might be at risk, or especially if you've already had your identity stolen before. So one of the things that we do at Kingdom Builders Credit Repair is make sure that every single person that comes through our course, through our program, excuse me, not courses. We're not talking business here. We're talking credit. So when a person comes through our program for credit repair, we automatically add a fraud alert to their files. Now, some people think that adding a fraud alert is going to actually cause them to get their credit removed, any negative items from their credit removed faster. But the truth of the matter is, it's not that it actually helps you to get your credit items deleted faster. But if you do have a fraud alert and you have a police report in addition to the fraud alert, then if you had a situation where it was actual identity theft and you have the information that reports that there was identity theft on in this month, this day, and this year, you can actually get that police report sent in to the credit bureaus, and that fraud alert with the police report will help you to get more items removed from your credit. Okay, so that's one of the secrets that I'm just sharing with you guys. You make sure that you go and tell somebody that needs this kind of information. So the other thing that we are looking at when it comes to the fraud alert is just understanding that we either have a 1 year option or a 7 year option. So a 1 year or a 7 year option only when it comes to the fraud alert. And we want to make sure that it is automatically activated when we call in. We want to make sure that we understand that it's not something that's delayed. So if you call the credit bureaus and you say, hey, I'm going to add this fraud alert to my credit report, I'm going to secure the fraud alert for a immediate time, real time activation. So that's how the fraud alerts work. The fraud alert is to alert you of people who they already have in the system that are fraudulently doing business, as well as newcomers of identity thieves. So it's not just the old thieves and the old scam artists, the old con artists that relates to credit and finances. It's the new people that are coming down the line. There is a list in systems of thieves, of people who have stolen identities. So with that fraud alert on there, it's not just alerting you, it's also securing any new people that maybe try to steal your identity, that now they get to go into the system to protect them from other people as well as yourself. So that's a beautiful thing about a fraud alert. So that's one thing. Now, a fraud alert does not prevent you from being able to exercise anything as it pertains to your credit. It is something that you can freely do, and you'll still be able to apply for credit. You'll still be able to manage your accounts with that are on your credit reports. You'll still be able to monitor your credit. But the third thing that we're talking about as it pertains to having your identity stolen or for sale, we are looking at the security freezes. Now, when it comes to a security freeze, it blocks any new credit from being established on your credit report. But it also stops if you are trying to do a dispute investigation. Like if you found something on your own credit, if you're not in our program, or if you are in our program and there's a security freeze on your credit report, we as a company cannot dispute anything from your credit. Okay, as well as you would not be able to apply for anything on your credit either. Because what happens with the security freeze is it's shutting everything down. It's almost like I'm frozen. So nothing can happen, nothing can come in, and nothing can go out. That's the way a security freeze works. So when it comes to security freezes, we got to understand that it is an instant activation. So as soon as you tell the credit bureaus that you would like to add a security freeze, that security freeze is going to instantly show up on your credit reports. And the security freezes, just like the fraud alerts, are also going to be communicated through the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. And they're going to say, hey, this person has a security freeze on their credit. So let's freeze everything. Let's stop any activity from happening. Let's stop all dispute activity. Let's stop all monitoring activity. Let's stop all activating any new credit. Let's stop all of it. Even in the event that you want to increase your credit limit on a credit card or a department store card, you will not be able to do that with a security freeze. So the only time that we would suggest Doing a security freeze is when you are in a situation where maybe someone has just stolen your identity. That way, they don't have the ability to do it at that time anymore. But then also consider taking the freeze off. Now, when you enter a security freeze by calling the credit bureaus, the first thing they're going to have you do is verify some information. You will also need to establish a PIN number. And with that PIN number, you would have to remember what that PIN number is in order to take that security freeze off of your credit. So do understand, when it comes to the timeline of a security freeze, either you're adding it to your credit report and you are taking it off, but you have to have your PIN number. You have to have all of the verification in order for you to be able to take the security freeze off your credit. So for clients of KBCR, of Kingdom Builders Credit Repair, if you have a security freeze on your credit and you're trying to do business with us, you gotta take the freeze off because we cannot move forward with your dispute investigations. So whenever you're doing a security freeze, like I said before, you want to make sure that you are putting it on, but you have a mindset of when you are going to remove that security freeze. So it shouldn't be on for longer than, I would say, 90 days. And after the 90 days, maybe 6 months at a time. If you know for sure that you're not going to be applying for anything, if you don't have any activity such as a dispute investigation, if you're not looking for something to be added to your files, then it's okay for you to keep it on for about, I would say at maximum, 6 months. And the reason why I say that is because you should be monitoring your credit every 6 months to a year anyway. That means you need to pull from the annualcreditreport.com, look at your actual credit reports, see what is on there, find what is accurate and what is inaccurate. Make sure that you contact KBCR so that we can enter a dispute for you, get you set up in our program. And then that way, every 6 months to a year, you are making sure that you are protected properly. You're not just out there, just, all willy-nilly deciding that you're just going to allow the identity thieves to go and sell your identity. So that's basically what we want to understand about a security freeze and how it differs from a fraud alert, and how monitoring your credit is completely opposite from the fraud alert and the security freeze. They are not the same thing. So if you have any further questions about your credit, about your credit scoring, your monitoring, or anything as it relates to finances and money, then definitely give us a call. Give us a call at 844-522-7552. You can also email us at info@kbcrllc.com, or you can go to our website and just click on Contact Us, Let's Talk, at www.kingdombuilderscreditrepair.com. Make sure that you are connected to us. Go to the Kingdom Builders Credit Repair YouTube channel right now and click that subscribe button, but also click your notification so you will never again miss an episode of the KBCR TV show with credit and financial tips with Michelle Green. Myself, that's right. Because I know that you're learning some things out there. And if you are learning, please let us know in the comment below of what you learned today and how you would like to move forward with expanding and increasing your credit and finances with KBCR. Thank you so much again for watching. And like I said, if you have any questions, make sure you give us a call because we'll be happy to answer those questions concerning monitoring your credit, fraud alerts, or security freezes, and anything in between. All right, you guys take care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Friday from 12:30 to 1 p.m. All right, bye-bye.